Right, in today's video it's going to be all about the photo mode with the Action 5 Pro. And to select photo mode, just hit the icon in the bottom left and then swipe across to photo. And if you want to enter the manual settings, just tap the icon to the right here, hit the Pro sign, and there you'll be able to enter the manual mode. So you've got exposure settings here. To the left you have the EV values and to the right your ISO. And that's all going to be in auto. And then you can hit the manual settings, again, settings either side. And then at the bottom here, you just tap that for the format, JPEG on its own or JPEG and RAW. And then on your right, you'll have your white balance settings, so you'll be able to toggle through them to adjust what suits you. But in today's video, we're going to be keeping the Action 5 Pro in automatic mode. That way, you're going to see exactly what you get straight out the box. And then you'll just touch the bottom of the screen, and that's going to bring the aspect ratios up, as well as the 4 options on the megapixels. So now let's get outside and do some testing. Here we go. Right now I'm outside, I'm just going to go through the 4 options which the Action 5 Pro offers in photo mode. First of all, it'll be set in medium, aspect ratio is 16.9, and this will give you 8 megapixel. Then it jumps to 4.3 aspect ratio, still in medium, and this is going to jump to 9 megapixel. And then it jumps quite dramatically because the next setting is large, the aspect ratio is 16.9, and this is going to get you 36 megapixel. And then finally the aspect ratio is going to be 4.3, again in large, and this jumps to a whopping 40 megapixel. It's quite remarkable how an action camera in today's world can max out at 40 megapixel. I do own the Action 4 and that's at 10 megapixel, and that's good enough. So in today's video, I'm going to get to an urban area and I'll be taking 4 images, again starting at 8 megapixel, 9 megapixel, 36 megapixel, and then a whopping 40 megapixel. And on the photo mode, I'll be using standard D-warp, and there you'll find a focal length of 14mm. It's all going to be shot in automatic mode straight out the box. That way you're going to get a great idea what the Action 5 Pro offers. And also I'll be cropping in on the images, that way you'll be able to really see that 40 megapixel, what it looks like. So let's go and find some subjects in this urban area. Here we go. So I found my first subject. It's a church of all things. So as I've said, I'll take 4 pictures here. The first one being 8 megapixel, then 9, 36, and then at 40. And then as I crop in, especially on the 36 megapixels and the 40, we should see some difference there. Here we go. So what do you think to those 4 images there going through the megapixels? As I'm talking to you right now, I don't know what that looks like, as I've not got back to edit this yet. But I suspect that the higher megapixels there at 36 and 40, as we punch in there, should be a lot more clear than the 8 megapixel and the 9 megapixel. Let's find another subject. This might be a bit morbid, but being as though I'm next to the church, there is a graveyard, and as I'm walking through there, I just had an idea that if I was to take the 4 images of a gravestone, and then when I crop in on that gravestone, we should be able to see the clarity a little bit more better, again with the higher megapixels at 36 and 40. So let's take 4 images of this one and compare the difference. Here we go. So what did that look like on the gravestone there? Again, with the writing on that gravestone, as I was cropping in, the 36 and the 40 megapixel should look a lot more sharper than 8 and 9 megapixel. Let's find another subject. Here we go. And now there's an abandoned building down here. It's about 30 meters away. So again, as I crop in with the higher megapixel rates there at 36 and 40, we should see a big difference from the 9 megapixel and the 8 megapixel. So let's take images of this, which is just over here. Now let's take some pictures of this market square just here. Just going to stand in that corner over there. Again, taking 4 pictures, 8 megapixel, 9 megapixel, 36 and 40. And just keep a close eye on the detail in the background as I zoom in. There should be some difference there. So although this is automatic mode with the Action 5 Pro in photo mode, I'm going to try my very best not to do any editing at all. But there may be some dark spots in some of the images when I get back to edit these, so if I do any adjustments whatsoever, it'll be just with the brightness, that's all. Because we just don't want a dark image there, especially when I'm cropping in. So now I've come across an old street lamp, if you can just see there. I'm about 20 meters away from that. So again, I'm going to go through the shooting modes, and when I crop in, we should see some difference there, especially with the higher megapixel rates. Now I know it's not the most interesting subject, but I just want to see the difference when I punch in there to the higher megapixels to the lower megapixels. So in the Action 4, it also has the 1/1.3 sensor. That's really bright. So again, I forgot my ND filters, my shades, and that's really in my face. So let's just squint on this clip. So in the Action 4, it also has the 1/1.3 sensor, but with the Action 5 Pro, it's upgraded slightly because it's the new generation 1/1.3 sensor. So it's going to be interesting while I'm cropping in on these images to see if there really is a big difference with that new generation sensor. And now I'm going to take some photographs of this open space behind me. The sun's really bright, so I'll not need to edit any of these pictures whatsoever. So again, we're in auto mode. Let's take some pictures here. And now I'm going to take some pictures of these flowers just here. So let's see if we can see any difference when we're cropping in here. Do we see any difference whilst cropping in on them flowers there? I do hope so. Right now I'm around 25 metres away from this optician's on the corner where that lorry's just gone past. Keep an eye on the brickwork and we should see a lot more clarity. Here we go. So did you see any difference in clarity, especially in the higher megapixel rates there, while zooming in on the opticians there? So while the sun's really strong and it's completely blinding me, as you can see, I'm hardly opening my eyes. Let's test the 13.5 stops dynamic range which the Action 5 Pro offers. Let's just turn that into the sun there whilst filming me. And if I'm not a black dark shadow, then that dynamic range is working rather correctly. So again, let's turn our way around and see. Now through that front OLED screen, I do look like a dark shadow because it's just a small screen. So when I get back in post, it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic range really works. And now finally, let's get a nice landscape shot and compare the difference with each photo. Here we go. Although action cameras aren't really made for taking photographs, nowadays they do a really good job. I've owned many action cameras over the years and they've always varied between 8 megapixels up to 12 megapixels. So now with this newly released Action 5 Pro ramping right up to 40 megapixels, it's going to be a real game changer. And while I've been walking around today finding subjects to take pictures of, I've been walking around for just a little over 2 hours now, and it's been a great test with the Action 5 Pro's battery life. That battery is 1950 milliamp, and the battery percentage is on 73 from 100. So I've left it on the whole time, although I've not been filming in 4K 30 like I am right now. I've been leaving it on standby the whole time. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today with the Action 5 photography, and you've got a real good insight there of the photography megapixels, starting from 8 megapixels, 9 megapixels, 36 megapixels, and then a mind-blowing 40 megapixels. Although the aspect ratios been shot in 16.9 and 4.3, that's the only two aspect ratios which the Action 5 Pro offers for now, unless we get yet another firmware update. So as always, do stay tuned to the channel, as there'll be plenty more videos in the near future. Keep your eyes open for the lantern parade which I filmed for a client. I used the Mavic 3 Pro, and I could really punch in there with the optical ×3 and ×7 lenses. Keep your eye out for that one, it's going to be an interesting one. But for now, thanks for watching, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and bye for now.